right, we are live. Welcome to the Black Tech Experience. My name is Rami Pruitt. I am a ex Google, ex Dell, ex Twitch, ex Amazon. I've been to a lot of different companies. If this is your first time meeting me, um, ex. Oh yeah, I forgot to say I'm a software engineer. Ex all those companies. I'm creating a channel for indie hackers, content creators, founders. I'm going to be building products with AI. If that's something that you're interested in, or you are one of my content creator friends, or you're using one of my products from the future, and you're looking back to see the journey of what it took to build DonorSync or Sicily. This is for you. I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Um, yeah, if you guys want to let me know where you're at. I know this is a Friday right now, so I was like, not sure if I should make a video because I feel like nobody's going to be here today, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the journey. Hopefully, I have this up for the next 5 years, just to let you know that building products and building software is a journey and it takes time. Um, it starts very humble, but hopefully, can get all the way up there. But I did want to start this off by letting you guys know a little bit about what it's like to build a product with AI in 2025. Give me one sec. I'm trying to. There we go. So, what is it like to build a product in 2025 with AI? So, if you don't know me, my name is Robert Pruitt, ex Fang software engineer, and I'm currently building DonorSync, which is this AI tool to streamline donations across different platforms. And it's kind of funny to me. It's like AI has dramatically changed how I go about writing software and being a software engineer. I would say the number one reason why it's changed is I don't use Stack Overflow. Back in the day when somebody would get a bug, right? When I used to be a software in 10 years ago, right? When I was a student, most of my time was spent installing software. Most of my time was spent debugging software. Very little of it was spent in the process of designing and making businesses, which is extremely important for the entire thing. And so with the ability for AI to generate tutorials for me, debugging, the process of what is the word? Installing software is a lot faster, even though it's still a pain in the ass. Uh, as far as what I know right now, there is no tool capable of setting up software for you with you clicking a button. Even something as simple as like, give me a Python server, spin up this Python server with this basic ability to sign up users, which I was doing yesterday. It was a huge pain in the ass, and to do it correctly, where you're able to use Docker or something like gRPC, it's going to take hours. Deploying software takes hours, and so with ChatGPT, it definitely does help within debugging. But I would say number two, one of the reasons why building software in 2025 is a struggle is because there are different AI models. And what I'm starting to realize is that some models are better than other models when it comes to the debugging process. I've heard a lot of people tell me that Claude is a better tool for programming. And I'm like, when I used it, I was disappointed because it doesn't have as many features as ChatGPT. But as I ran into bugs with ChatGPT, I decided to switch over into Claude in order to see if it would do better, and it was a lot better. It was like I feel like when it comes to debugging with ChatGPT, um, it can lead you down rabbit holes. So, and it goes back to what I was saying, like when you are debugging, if you don't know what the process of debugging is, it's like when you find a bug and you don't know exactly how to fix it. it takes time to research, different areas and ways in order to fix said bug. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough to do such a thing with all these different models. You don't know which one is better. And I'm pretty sure we're having, other companies like Gemini and ChatGPT. So imagine, I guess number three is like when you're working at these companies, when I was working at Amazon, and I think Amazon's coming out with their own foundational model, it's hard to justify using these models when you have proprietary code, right? Because every single thing that you're using from ChatGPT is being used to train their next model. So it's like if you use ChatGPT on your code base, is that going to help your competitors build something similar in the future? And so there is this big, um, what is it? Should you be using ChatGPT? It is possible today to use something like Meta's Llama in order to self-host your own model. But using that a model like Llama is such a pain because it doesn't have access to the internet. It's trained on pre-built data. So I think one of the most important features about ChatGPT is that when it doesn't know something that's happening right now, it has the ability to go into the to look at the internet, figure out exactly what information it needs, and then return the most optimal solution based upon what's actually out there today. And so, without all these tools have different strengths and weaknesses, and it's hard to find the most optimal flow. And so, I'm really excited on this channel that we're going to be exploring all these different tools, things that I find that are useful to me. I'm going to be giving to you guys and making it a lot easier. And so that is how I feel about AI. To build a business, it's not easy. Number one, it's not easy. There's so many different options. There's nothing streamlined for your specific need. If you're thinking about a business idea in that area, I think, yeah, just making, we're still thinking about these ideas of how we're going to make coding accessible to non-software engineers, everyday human beings. And so still feels like we're a long ways away, but I'm really excited to see where it goes in 2025. Excuse me, I just set my microphone. Where it goes in 2025, I think in the future, people have talked about how 3-4 years down the line, we're going to have Gen AI, where everyday human beings are able to write software at the level beyond what I'm capable of today. And so I definitely, it's hard for me to see that it's going to happen in 2025, but I do think we're going to see automation, the economy grow from automation. And so I guess that's all I have to say on that. Let me know in the comments how you are enjoying AI tools today. If you have anything else if you feel like what is your AI workflow, then let me know in the comments. And I'm going to be using Cursur in order to build out my landing page for DonorSync. And I think I should have the video up here if you're looking at it. Yeah, but other than that, deuces. Let's see. So I had so many people come in and out. I just want to make sure that the sound is well. So I'm going to take a moment to do that. Get to you guys. All right. So it looks like the sound is all good. All right, so I got a banger for you. Um, Let me see. So here's how I'll do this. I'm gonna set it up as we're watching. If anybody in the comments has any questions and wants me to answer, I would love to uh, answer anything you have while I set up this next video. Um, uh, what is done? Mm, uh, all right. So I guess let me share my screen and get into it. Scala draw. I might end my own stream. All right. So yeah. My name is Rami Pruitt. I am the founder of DonorSync. It is a tool in order to aggregate your donations across different platforms. And I created it because I realized that there's not a tool right now for that. And so today, this video, if you've probably seen the title, it's about what is the system design of DonorSync. So this is for anybody who's a software engineer and interested in system design. Perhaps one of the most important things that you could learn as a software engineer in order to boost your ability as a indie hacker and create businesses is system design. Even if AI is able to create these systems faster, a person needs to understand what languages to use in order to get the tool or in order to complete a goal. And so I'm giving you a comprehensive look at what DonorSync is built in. And so if you don't know, DonorSync there's three services that I have built for DonorSync in order to reach its core MVP values. So I'm going to share my screen, give you guys a little bit of overview. So um, let's first start off with writing a little bit about what the details of DonorSync is. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to say DonorSync. It has three things: aggregate donations in a database, let's see. I guess I'm gonna have to make this a lot bigger for you guys to see. Aggregate donations in a database. So that could be something like aggregate donations in a database like YouTube, Twitch, Meta. Not very hard. Um, it's going to have some type of client in order to view basic analytics about said tool. And let's think. So I'm going to be doing managing user subscriptions, and beta on Patreon. I still think you guys cannot see this. All right, I think that's good enough. So I've listed these 3 features, which is what I think DonorSync is going to be about. So aggregating donations in a database, and I guess it shouldn't be like YouTube, from YouTube, Twitch, and Meta, and various different other platforms. It won't be just them. And clients can view basic analytics about said tools. So we're going to need a web app for that, and then manage user subscriptions and beta programs and beta programs via Patreon. So these are my 3 different things that I need to do for my MVP. And so you could do things such as one monolithic service for this, right? If you know a language like Python, JavaScript, Node.js, and what else are great languages? I would say Elixir is kind of up there as well. But if you're looking for a language in 2025 in order to become an indie hacker, I would say Python and Node.js are probably your best bet. So best languages. For indie hackers, I would say Python and Node.js. Why am I saying Python, right? So Python is a language that's really easy to write. And so you've seen companies like Instagram go from 0 to millions of users with just Python. It can work at the highest levels because not everything needs speed. When you think about Python, everybody complains about how slow it is. But if you need to score a touchdown, right? The bases are loaded and you need to win. Python is definitely something that you could get something out fast without having to worry about different programming paradigms. And you could use it all the way from the front end to the back end. And so number 2, which is JS and JavaScript and /Node.js, or some runtime like Node.js. Let's just say Node.js. So if you know JavaScript and Node.js, you can do everything from make the backend all the way to making the mobile app and to making a web app all in one user base. There's support for various different platforms, and it is not a pain to write. It has, if you use something like TypeScript, and I guess I'll change that. I'll make it TypeScript. It has great, if you use like Node.js, they have great TypeScript support. And so you can have, I've seen companies like Uber go from their beginning days to using just TypeScript and Node.js. And so it's an extremely good language. And I'm using both of these in DonorSync. So let's start off with what I call my first service, which is SyncView. So I'm going to write that. SyncView. How do I group this? No, I don't want to duplicate it. I want to group it. All right, there it is. So we have this first service, SyncView. SyncView is a Node.js app, and it will be using Svelte. So I'm going to say, I don't know how I'm going to display this information. So I guess I'll go back up here. SyncView is a Node.js Svelte kit app. So some of you guys probably don't know what Svelte kit is, right? It's a tool for building JavaScript engines, and it's not React, right? Most people build front ends in React. And when I was working at Amazon and Twitch, I was using React. So why am I using Svelte and Svelte kit in order to make SyncView? Well, I'm choosing Svelte because Svelte has better bundling and it's a lot easier to write. And so those two things, easeability, will help me with speed, as well as one thing that people complain about in React. If you look at Discord, it takes sometimes a long time for it to load up, and that's because it's built in React. React has large bundling size. Or you can look at Twitch. Twitch is a big monolithic React website. And although it's extremely good when you have large front ends like Twitch and Discord, it's not the best tool for indie hackers. For indie hackers, Svelte is great for building the MVP and getting something out in a fast time. It may not be the best tool when you want to scale up to 100 different teams, but for me as a independent developer making a tool, I'm choosing SyncView. And so, yeah, Discord is slow sometimes. That's just one of my. I'll shut my guy out. Sean said Discord is slow. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce your name, Sean. Yeah. So Sync. It's so easy in React to make tools that are just too slow, and so Svelte is going to help me with that. It's going to be really good. So ThinkView is going to be the things that I built some of the dashboards in. They have components, like if I want to build a histogram or a line bar, it's very good for that. And so JavaScript, I was thinking about, I'm going to keep it there. So I'm going to take that off. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, great. So we have SyncView. And next I want to say is the next tool I'm using, which I said is Python. Let me go back up. So we have, and I guess I'll move this a bit up, is User Hub. Oh yeah, and another thing, you see how these names, so ThinkView, right? It sounds like something that you're going to view something in the front end. Naming your services is extremely important, right? And having good names is helpful. If you use something like ChatGPT is a great naming tool. Just say like, hey, I have this service and it's going to be my streamlined service. My product is DonorSync, right? This is how I came up with SyncView. I want some front end in order for my users to be able to view their analytic dashboards. What should I do? And it gave me a suggestion. It gave me many suggestions that came up with SyncView. And so if I had a team member on my team and they want to know, hey, how to fix something, I need to be able, I don't want to say just go to the front end, go to SyncView, right? It's good names are important. It helps people understand the whole flow of the diagram. And so I have another service named User Hub, which is a Python service. And it's going to be a service for integrating with Stripe, Patreon, and Clerk for managing the subscriptions of my app, right? Why did I choose Python? Why not build everything in Node.js? Well, Clerk, Stripe, and Patreon, excuse me, I just burped. Clerk, Stripe, and Patreon have extremely good support for Python rather than Node.js. They do have support for Node.js. Actually, I would say Clerk has better support for Node.js than it does Python. But I thought with the tools that I'm going to be using, Patreon and Clerk, I think it's going to be able to interface with those tools a lot better than if I just built everything in Node.js. And so I have a separation of concerns, right? I have one service that does everything front end related, and then I have another service that does everything. I don't know why it's not letting me. Okay, there it is. So I have one service that is doing everything front end related, and I have everything that goes with users. Let's see if I can manipulate this. All right, great. So, and then I have another service called User Hub that is doing everything, doing all the business backend logic that is for my Python app. And so I'll take a second. Let's see what they're saying. A mobile app in React, and their mobile app is in React Native. Somebody said their mobile app is in React Native. So yeah, you got it right. Spelled it differently. Appreciate it, my guy Sean. So yeah, we have User Hub and we have SyncView. And let's go back up. So we have User Hub and SyncView. And so I have separations for concerns, right? Like when you have a service, a monolithic service, and you're doing everything in that service, it gets kind of messy, right? It's hard to understand what's going on. And so if I had a team, why do some companies choose microservices architectures over I just got a text. Why do some companies choose microservice architectures over monolithic services? It's because when you have a monolithic service, it just depends on the need. So if you have a monolithic service, if you have 1,000 employees, right, all working on one monolithic service, it's easy to break everything, right? It's hard to understand what's going on. You're looking at millions and millions of lines of code. And one thing, it's not obvious to see how one thing will affect another, right? So you need to have scaling strategies around that monolithic service in order to make sure that everything stays up and everything is integrated. But you've seen companies such as Stack Overflow take their scale up to millions of users with just a monolithic service. So it can work, right? Stack Overflow was just, I believe, a C# monolithic service, 2 big ass databases, and yeah. And so it's possible to do everything that I want to do in DonorSync in one service. And I guess if I had to choose a service, I would choose something like Python just because it gets to start. But I want DonorSync to be able to scale to its first million users, and I want to be able to do it with a small amount of a team. And so that's why I'm choosing to do more than a monolithic service. Because if I had a monolithic Python service, right? If I had a monolithic Python service, it would be faster for me to write. But let's say in the 2 to 3 month mark, I would have to maybe rewrite everything. And so it's important to keep this in mind. But if you want to make 5 grand a month, right? You could make 5 grand a month with a monolithic Python service. So don't feel like you need to do things my way. I think I just want to use the best tool as it needs. So, excuse me, let me get that up. And the last service that I'm going to be working on for the MVP of DonorSync is SyncView. SyncStream. So SyncStream is going to be for managing the polling different services like YouTube in order to figure out if somebody services like YouTube and storing them in a database. So we have SyncStream. And so I'm not going to say what SyncStream is built in. And so I'm going to be streaming building this app in front of you guys and showing you a lot of the things that I'm going through. But the one thing that I'm not going to show you on my stream is SyncStream, because SyncStream is the moneymaker, right? I think the main reason why I have chosen this model of building software is because I want to teach people what it takes in order to build apps. And so, but at the same time, I don't want people to be able to copy me as easily. So a lot of things I'm going to be doing behind the scenes where you cannot see it for SyncStream, because that's probably the service that holds the foundation of my things together. But I did want to talk about it. So I have these 3 services: UserHub, SyncView, and SyncStream, that are going to be my main services for DonorSync. And I am going to give you behind the scenes information about SyncStream on my Patreon. And if you want to check more information on that, just stay tuned. But these are the 3 services for DonorSync. And I'm going to be using, for my database, I'm going to be storing everything in Postgres. So Postgres, you could literally do it in any database, to be honest. So all I'm just doing is aggregating data. And so if I really wanted this to scale up and be pain free, I would choose something like a NoSQL database like DynamoDB, or I wouldn't say MongoDB, something close to the DynamoDB like Cassandra, something that's optimized for high writes. And so you got to understand the strengths and weaknesses of different databases. So Postgres, the reason why I'm using Postgres is because it's cost efficient. And so I could pay $5 a month in order to scale up to my first 200 to 300 users. So, oh yeah, my brother said, don't forget to hit the like button. But yeah, I can use something like Postgres to scale up to my first 200 to 300 users with only having $10, right? $10 a month in order for my first database. And then as it scales up, I'm going to transfer over into probably a pay-as-you-go version of SQL. Generally, what I've seen is they'll start off at like $30 a month. And so with that, I wouldn't have to worry about scaling it. But with this $20 a month, $10 a month, I have to do things like making sure that I have backups, making sure that if it reaches capacity, I have to migrate it over into a bigger database. I have to do all these various different things that is required for a Postgres database. And so that's the first reason why I'm using Postgres. I don't have to use you don't have to use Postgres. It just depends on what you need. And I realized I have a typo on Patreon right there. So, and then lastly, the cloud that I'm going to be using. Many people would think, since I have Amazon in my resume and experience, that I would use something like that. But I'm going to be using Fly.io. And why am I using Fly.io? Because it's built for indie hackers like you and me, right? You have to understand that Amazon was built for Amazon and GCP are built for large organizations like Amex, like a bank or something. It's not built for people like you and me that need a product that we're trying to scale a product to make $5,000 a month, right? Imagine you had a product that makes $5,000 a month. Well, with Fly.io, you can have 4 servers on their platform for free, right? That's enough for your beta, that's enough for your gamma and your prod if you're building a monolithic service. And so with this architecture, I think I'm going to, I prefer Fly.io. You've also seen things like Amazon charging people, like running up a $10,000 bill on Amazon. And that's because of this hype, which is serverless platforms. Serverless platforms make a lot of sense when you have millions and millions of customers. But if you want if you only have like 10,000 customers, well, serverless doesn't always make sense. And serverless is not a great use case in this scenario because of, if you guys know Lambda, it's basically, it spins up an environment in like 200 milliseconds. In less than a second, Amazon will put my code on a server and then it'll start taking requests. Well, let's say I have 1,000 users, right? And they're all getting donations from 4 to 5 p.m. Well, you're going to have burst traffic sometimes. And I think that's one of the challenging parts about DonorSync is how does it scale? So when you are making these products, right, maybe you're building it in monolithic, but you always have to be thinking about, if you're a serious software engineer, you always have to be thinking about how is it going to scale up to my first 1,000 customers? How's it going to scale up to my first 10,000 customers? How's it going to scale up to my first 100,000 customers? And so with this setup, I think it'll be able to scale up to my first 100,000 customers just like this with these 2 services. But if it was a monolithic service like Python, it might be, it could work, but it'd be a pain. And so that's all I have on DonorSync, and it's designed. Hopefully you guys are not copying me in the future, but if it is, here's how it looks. And I guess let's just answer some questions. So let's see. Essentially, you are isolating each feature as a microservice, which is better for debugging, but it still confuses on what the benefits of a okay. So you're still confusing the benefits of a monolith. Okay. So if I just built this service in Python, I bet you I could get this done in a month. I'm going to actually spend a little bit more time building these different services because I have to switch. I have to do a lot of context switching, and I don't necessarily need to, because what I'm doing right now is so simple that it could be just one monolithic service. So if you need, like, I don't know, like, I have a good enough budget where I could be out the industry for a year. That's why I am thinking about the long term. A monolithic service is like, again, I'll give you the case study of Instagram. Instagram was just one big, or Stack Overflow. They're just one big service, And especially if you don't have a team of people, it really doesn't make sense to use microservices. And at the same thing, micro debugging with a microservice can be a pain because it's over the internet. Like imagine I have this, I just created a beta in User Hub, right? And I need sync view to test out that beta feature. Well, now I have to have two services running on my computer in order to test out those features. And then what happens when I like deploy that to beta? Like, let's say I have it in prod, right? And I do a deployment for User Hub, and that breaks something in prod because I didn't necessarily test it. It worked in beta a lot better than it did in prod. And so when you have this monolithic service for creating something, it's a lot easier in that way. Like I just spent hours yesterday like making sync view, setting up all these different repositories. If I only had one repository, it would have taken me just an hour to set up this stuff. So if you are considering being an indie hacker and you are making a micro product, I think one of the reasons why you might want to do more services is if you're building a business, right? If you're building a if you're building the next Google, you probably want to start with microservices. If you're building something like DonorSync, you can get away with a monolith. So just keep that in mind. I think because I love scalability, I think it has a lot of ways for me to do that. But I kind of feel bad. I feel like I'm talking about like, don't be like me, do yourself. And so, what is the inspiration behind DonorSync? Well, so I've been in content creator groups and I've understood how important it is to have donations represent your true fans, people who are willing to spend money with you. And then when I tried to look up a tool that would unify all these different platforms, then I realized that there was no tool to do that. If you use Streamlabs, you can only look at donation data during your live stream on one platform. And so it's not hard to have donation data from various different platforms all in one of your systems. And so I have other indie hacker ideas. It's just this one is the simplest. So I wanted to start with something simple, which is just pulling data from different platforms and storing it all in one place and doing it live. And so with all of that, I think it should be, I think it's a great warm-up project for me. It's a real pain point for content creators. So Sean, if you're looking for if you're looking for an indie hacker idea, I think this is very important. Let me get a close up on me. So if you are looking for an idea on how to be an indie hacker, don't just, I think many people have this idea that they are going to build the next Netflix or whatever, right? And they have never sold a DVD in their life. That's bad because although there's probably room in the market for a better Netflix, he has no idea how to build Netflix up from the ground up. He has no idea about the business. He has no tech understanding of that. You need to be looking for products that are small, niche. You're not competing with anybody else, and it's a real pain point for other people. You would be surprised. I will give you the example of Peter Level's Remote OK. He has this product where all he does is he pulls information from one platform, or no. He posts jobs, remote jobs about for people who want to find remote jobs back in the day. And he has said that he makes 50 grand a month from that product, just from asking companies, do you want to post on my website? It costs $500. It costs $1,000 to do that. And so you don't necessarily need to come up with the fastest algorithm. You don't necessarily need to create a new Netflix in order to make $5,000 a month, right? Imagine you build a tool that just texts people a reminder about their appointment. This could be some way for you to make $5,000 a month. Once you're making $5,000 a month, you can pay your rent and you can go after something big. But my number one advice for you guys is to always start small for these products. You would be surprised how much people are willing to pay you for these small, tiny products. And so really appreciate that question, Sean. I hear SQLite is really fast these days. So yeah, SQLite could be something that I'm going to build. I just think because yeah, that's a good question. Like I could make a SQLite, excuse me, a SQLite database where it's connected to users. There's a paradigm coming up with like a user per DB, right? That way, if the data is not necessarily all connected, we don't have to store it in a way. And that's something that I could think about, right? I'm planning to do Postgres, but SQLite is way more cost efficient. And so I appreciate Sean for making me think about that. It's because I'm just not sure. There is in system design, there is no one way to do anything, right? There's just choices and trade-offs. And so there is a big resurgence on SQLite. And so that is definitely something to be thinking about. What's up to my guy, Kid Carlton? Yeah, AWS. Azure seems government-focused big companies. Yeah, you want to pick a cloud that's focused on you. You don't have to pick Fly.io. You could pick something like Vercel. You could pick something like Heroku, right? You could pick something like, I've heard of Render as well. These are all great companies for indie hackers because they're built for indie hackers. Instead of being built for these big companies they can take 10 grand, right? So yeah, just be on the lookout for that. And is it possible to put a project like this on something? Yeah, you can do it. So Vercel is very front end focused, right? When you do something like Vercel, it's going to be, you're going to like, I could not create, if you want to have a monolithic service, if I was going to do a monolithic service in Vercel, then I could, because it'd generally be a Node.js service with some Lambdas, right? If I wanted a Lambda-based architecture, then I would use something like Vercel because it's really good for scaling out your front end, and then it has Lambda support where if you don't know the difference between a server and a Lambda, it's just like what I said earlier, where in 200 milliseconds, it tries to put your code on that machine, and then it runs the code. And so I'm not really looking for a Lambda-based architecture in this because, again, with Lambdas, that's where you incur some of that cost with like a million requests, like, or something costing you like 10 grand. So you have to be careful with Lambdas, and then Lambdas have cold starts, right? So let's say YouTube has a donation and they send a webhook through my service, right? And I do a Lambda, right? So you only have a certain amount of time to respond to that webhook before, YouTube says, oh, he missed the webhook, we're moving on. And so if my Lambdas takes 200 milliseconds in order to spin up that data, it might miss that webhook. I think it is possible. I just haven't thought about it. I think servers are just more cost effective for indie hackers. But you could build this in a Lambda-based architecture. Yeah, glad my guy Sean agrees. What up, my guy Finn? So glad you're here. If you have any questions, just let me know. But other than that, I think I'm going to end this on my, what I think DonorSync is going to be like. My system design for DonorSync to scale up to its first 1 million users. Actually, I'm probably going to say, I feel like this stack can probably scale me up to 100,000. And then we'll be there. We'll see what happens from there. But I'll give you guys updates about how many customers I have. If I don't get any customers, what it's like going through this. If you're interested in that, in my journey of scaling up these 3 services to my first 100,000, or if I have to change, if I need to go to a SQLite, let me know in the comments and I'll keep you updated. Subscribe, like, I really appreciate it. So I'm gonna end it right there. So what's my guy? It's insane how much. Yeah, it's insane. You guys are right. Like you have to watch out for these cloud costs, right? It's so easy to shoot yourself in the foot with like these lambdas. Like imagine you have a lambda that calls another lambda and you have a circular dependency and they're calling each other all night. That's how people have these 10 grand bills. And so I think while I will say lambdas are really nice when you have millions, whether you're at a decent size, I'm not sure if that's good enough for me. So I work in consulting for a supermarket chain and I saw that there's billing in GCP and it was up to like $1 million a year. Yeah, like you guys don't understand, like there's something called vendor lock-in, right? Like let's say you try to move that lambda into a server. Well, it gets hard because you need to that lambda those lambdas cost more money as time goes on. And so my goal for DonorSync is not to just get to my first 100,000 users. It's to make sure that I have money, right? Like I don't want to be spending 10 grand a month in fees. I want to keep some of that money, and that's why I'm doing all these different things. And so, yeah, glad my guy Sean likes it. So, yeah, if you don't know, I'm building DonorSync. It's not up right now. I'm gonna be doing a coding tutorial later on. I think that video lasts a little bit longer than I would have liked, but yeah, let's go into the next one. So. I'm sorry, I just got a text. So I'm going to pull up my next video, and I guess I'll keep this right here. I'm going to be talking about what is a MVP and why it's important. So, yeah, if you guys have any comments in the meantime, let me know. I'm going to be setting up that video. So, 26 case study. I'm looking up an image for a MVP. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to share. So if you guys don't know, I will just answer again. But then I'm building an app called DonorSync. I should be answering more information about it in the next video. But yeah, I think the whole channel this year is going to be me building a product. Unfortunately, I know you guys aren't the target users, right? Like I realize like a lot of you are like me. You're not a content creator though. You just want to learn what it's like to build an app. And so I really appreciate it. When you guys like and share, it really helps me get out. I need to start making this channel friendly to my target audience of content creators because they are going to fuel my product as well. And so that's another part of this game is marketing and being an indie hacker. And so, There's just so many facets to being a solo entrepreneur. And hopefully I can show you guys what that's like. But yeah, I don't know if you guys are building anything, but if you have if you are not like me, I guess I'm somewhat extroverted in the sense that uh, I want to be able to talk to people all day like this. But yeah, you gotta get your product out there. That's another part, especially with these AI tools coming in the future. Like, even though there might be like 5 people with your product, if you have the best marketing, you'll beat them out. And so that's something you guys need to be thinking about as well as you are coming up with your ideas of different products. So my guy Sean said, I'm glad to start upon your videos and Black engineer as well. Early career, about 2.5 years. It's great to see other Black engineers in tech. Yeah, man, like it's all about representation. Like this is super important as well. Uh, how's the cloud engineering market? So I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a lot of interviews right now. Like if I really wanted a job, I feel like I could get interviews. I don't know if I get anything with the same amount of price as Amazon. You can check my other live out about that, but yeah. And then what's up to my guy, Wizard Kelly? What's up, my guy, Wizard Kelly? So, man, I'm gonna have to watch this replay getting started with Cursur. Indie development, getting caught up on stuff since this new year. Man, we got a lot of hot stuff coming in the pipeline. Like, share, subscribe, man. We're trying to every dollar I get, I'm gonna be giving back to you guys in some way. So, really appreciate your support, Wizard Kelly. And anybody else, just want to tell you guys again, this is not a Black channel. This is about inspiring, innovating, and breaking down barriers in tech. But other than that, I'm going to get into the next video. So my name is Rami Pruitt. I'm an ex-software engineer from Twitch and Amazon. And today I'm talking to you about what is a MVP. The MVP stands for minimum viable product. And so this is extremely important because the reason why you burnt out on your last project, right, is because you did not follow this principle. And I have a helpful diagram for showing you the difference between an MVP and what you did. And what I'm not trying to like talk shit, but yeah, I've done it too. I've done it. I've started many business ideas, but I did not finish some of them, right? Because I did not follow this practice. So what most people think it feels like to build a product is what you see above, right? They have a wheel and they're trying to build a car, right? They start off with a wheel and it never gets finished, right? Until the very end. And so they have nothing to show, right? People need to understand that you need to start with the skateboard first, right? You can ride the skateboard. People are going to be able to use DonorSync, and I imagine that it's going to be a little bit of a crappy platform, right? My goal is to make DonorSync by March 1st, right? My goal is to make DonorSync by March 1st. And it's not going to be, I imagine, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be ugly. And, hopefully my users are going to care about it enough to give me feedback about it regardless. But hopefully by month 4, I'll release it to the internet where it's no longer in a beta program. And so you see, maybe it'll be a bicycle by then, but maybe years down the line, it'll be a fully fleshed out system where somebody is wow. But I imagine when people look at DonorSync, they're going to say, wow, I can tell this is built by one person. I can tell this is going to be built by an indie hacker. And that's okay. The game of being an indie hacker is not about being pretty, right? It's about incremental improvements on your product. And so that's the number one thing you guys need to be looking out at. If you see my channel, right, I didn't always have the lights. If you look at some of my earlier videos, I didn't have the lights. I didn't have the cameras. things are getting progressively better. I think when you look at my channel, you can probably tell that I am, I don't have like 10,000 subscribers, but each day the videos are getting a little bit better. And that's why it's important to do that. So I'm going to pull up again just what I imagine um, the MVP for DonorSync is going to be. Oh, my bad. So let me share my screen and go back to Scala Draw. So this is the MVP that I'm aiming for in the next 2 months, which is aggregate donations across YouTube, Twitch, and Meta. I want to add other platforms like Patreon, like Kick. I might add to this, like make your own payment processor. So, like if somebody wants to pay you directly, you can have your own Patreon. Let's see. So maybe let's just add a segment here like post MVP. Oh yeah, and there's one thing I want to add to this: widgets for OBS. Widgets for OBS. So I'm in StreamYards right now, but OBS is where I can put some of the donation data on screen for you guys to look at. Like I can make an ending credit for your Patreon in case you want to shout them out at the end. So um post MVP Patreon integrations. I want to make hashtagging features. And I want to make, what else could I do? Hashtag features. So, right, you're seeing this is what I want to commit to for March 2nd or March 1st, right? This is what I'm going to make after. Maybe I can make this my, what month is that? May goals. Like these are some things that I might complete in May, right? But you see how in the beginning, my MVP is super small, right? And that's okay, right? You only need the MVP to show your customers why it's so painful or why you're not painful, but why your solution is going to alleviate their pain. That's why I'm sticking with these certain product ideas so that once I'm done releasing it, I can allow my community to tell me which one I want to build. Like maybe I get 10 customers and they're like, man, I really love it if you built a hashtagging feature first. Maybe I would really love it if you gave me a mobile app, right? I want an iPhone app for this. I don't want to use your uh, iPhone Android app. Hey, like I want this certain feature. I can tell them, all right, like I'm not gonna do that until May 1st. Or I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna let you guys vote on what do I build next, right? So this is how I'm getting some of this stuff done. Um, if I like, I could probably if I was doing a monolithic service, right? Maybe I could get all of this done in a few weeks. But the reason why it's going to take 2 months is because I'm setting things up. I'm making YouTube videos, right? I'm trying to relax a little bit, but this is ambitious, right? Today is January 10th. So I have 7 weeks to build the rest of this stuff. And I'm going to be using all the AI tools so you guys can see me build some of this stuff out. But I have my work cut out with me, spinning up all these different services, deploying them to Carlisle, like making my beta, my gamma, and my prod environment, like engineering excellence. I have all these different things that I need to do on the side of making my MVP. And so maybe down the line, some people are looking at DonorSync and they're like, wow, like I can't believe you just started with all these basic features, but that's how it needs to start in order for it to get better. So as you're building your MVPs, just make sure that you have very modest goals for a very modest product. You don't want to say like, I could say like, oh, like let me start building my hashtag feature. Let me start building the Android app, right? Let me start building my Patreon integrations. But I imagine 70% of my users that are going to be paying me $10 to $20, all they're really going to care about is YouTube, Twitch, maybe Facebook. Like maybe they're a Facebook gamer, maybe they're on Twitch, right? Most people are not streaming to more than these three platforms, but it still could be a great tool for them to get their OBS switches. So this is what I'm doing for the product launch of my MVP. And yeah, if you're I guess in conclusion, if you are building your MVP, make sure that it has very modest goals, right? It's very definitive what you're doing. Maybe you're only doing 4 things, right? Deploy the website, make the email list to engage interest, and try to get it done in 2 months. Try to get it done in 1 month, right? Peter Levels said something about getting products done in a week. And so you guys are going to be able to see the progress of me making this product over the next month and a half. And I'm going to, hopefully with me saying that I'm going to do it in 2 months, that you'll get a chance to see. And so I'll let you guys know in the comments. Perhaps I have some videos of showing my end products. Maybe you see it on my YouTube channel, DonorSync.live. It's the name of the URL. But yeah, this is what this is the product for 2025 and how it's getting started. So I guess I'm gonna end it there. All right. So let's get into Cursur. And Schomburger. Right, right. There's different front end tools for making products and stuff. So yeah. Um, let's get into Cursur. It's not a huh. What is up? 1 p.m. run dev. Yeah. Finally time to get back into the swing of things. Let's see. Why am I? Okay. All right. So this stuff is working now. Let's make this a. Oh, I didn't want you over there. I'm sorry. I'm just setting up my environment so that uh, the Cursur video can go as smooth as possible. Wow. And now I've stood up and I've lost the stream that I'm on. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's a pain. So I'm on StreamYard. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm like, I know I'm still on the stream, right? So yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just setting up my computer in order to get ready to stream the Cursur coding sessions. You just can't win anymore, man. Somebody needs to create an app and make this a lot easier on me. All right, now I'm sharing my screen and I'm going to share the entire screen and I'm going to share that. All right, so here we go. And we are in Cursur. And I'm going to put this down. Let's see if I can make this one. So I'm going to start the video here. My name is Rami Pruitt. I'm a software engineer, indie hacker, ex-Twitch, ex-Amazon, ex-Google intern, ex-Dell. And so, yeah, I'm building a product called DonorSync, where I'm going to be aggregating different donation data on one platform. And so if you want to follow this journey, subscribe, like, comment. But today we are using Cursur to try to build out the landing page. I've never built Cursur before. I have a lot of experience using VS Code, and I usually use NeoVim to do all my coding. But in 2025, the need for using AI, if you're not already using AI to program, you're in the dinosaur ages. You need to be following this channel. You need to be learning about how do we code with these AI tutorials. And so if you know Cursur, Cursur is one of probably the most premier app when it comes to coding with AI. It's built-in support specifically for integrating with these AI different systems. And so today I'm going to be showing you my first one, maybe 2.5 hours, and I'm going to be trying to build out my landing page for DonorSync using Cursur. And so if we look here, let's pull that up. So here is Cursur, right? I have a basic Node.js app. And if we look here, it's running on localhost. And so I'm using SvelteKit for my product. And just running npm run. The first thing I see here, this is the first thing I see when I'm opening up Cursur. I have not used it before. I'm going to be showing you the highlights of me using it. So let's start chatting with my code base, right? So it says hit shift enter and AI will scan your code base. So let's try that. Yeah. So it looks like if it did something, I don't know if it did whatever, if it needs. So I'm having a little bit of a hard time understanding why it did not do anything. Enter the chat. So is it over here? It's definitely not giving me the ease of use that I thought it was going to do. Press Shift L to start or Shift K to generate. Okay, so you can press Shift K. So you can press Shift K or Shift L in order to start chatting with it, or Shift L to chat. Okay, so Shift L and Shift K are working a lot better. Let's try something out. So, I'm curious. It's using Claude right now. That's quite interesting. So I don't know if I can hook it up to my system, but it's quite interesting that it uses Claude number one. I think people have been telling me that Claude is better, but yeah, let's try out Claude. So how about this? I am building. Let's start really simple. So I am building, and I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm gonna make this bigger just for your eyesight, even though it kind of looks ugly now. I apologize. Let's see. I think that should be good, right? So we have it in big mode, and it took me a while to figure out how to start chatting with this thing, but um, yeah, let's try it out. I'm building a landing page for my SaaS. Can you spice up the index HTML currently? Or I don't know. Let's just say that. I was going to say I'm in a Svelte project, but let's see what it does. It's telling me to have some basic tags. Okay, so I see what it's doing there. I guess it's giving me a preview. So of what it's about to write in its HTML. So I guess I need to give it a little bit of information about what is DonorSync. So DonorSync, um, the SaaS that I am creating is called DonorSync. DonorSync aggregates donation data about content creators' donations across platforms. It also creates widgets for OBS and what else? And it will have a basic analytics dashboard. So let's try that. So it's interesting. I didn't think so. I'm quite surprised that it's giving me a. It started off by saying it wants to add Tailwind CSS and Charts.js and all these different beautiful things. Uh, we will click apply for now just to see what that looks like. So it looks like it's changed a lot of different things. And charts still in CSS. It's telling me why. Svelte charts, prettier. So it's asking me, yeah, I would like it to, yes, reply. I can reply to it. Yes, I would like you to do that. Yes, I would like you to make a index HTML. So yeah, at first it started off with this. I'm gonna go ahead and accept it. And I'm going to say, so it started off with these basic, yeah, it looks like a very cool, nice landing page. So let's apply that. And so um, it's added this basic index HTML file. I'm not sure. I think I thought that so that's a little bit weird to me because I think I already have a basic index HTML app HTML. I'm surprised it made a index HTML right here instead of inside of my inside of my thing. So actually, I want to edit this. I don't know if I want to accept this. Let's reject it. So let's see if we can add. Interesting. So yeah, I would say my first few minutes in um Cursur is a pain. No, I'm just not used to. I'm not used to these different tools. So I don't know. Yeah, my first few minutes in Cursor has been a little bit of a struggle. I think this is a new paradigm for software engineers to be coding in the face of the prompts, but I do think this is the future. So although I'm struggling to figure out how to use these tools from just looking online, I'm definitely digging the experience for its um, attempt to try to modernize the way that we write code. So let's get back into it. So the problem I'm having right now is I've asked it to generate me a basic index HTML for DonorSync, and it gave me this index HTML, but I'm using Svelte. I'd rather you edit the Svelte page instead. Like, I don't understand why you would want to, um, why you would want to do this inside of. Let's make this a bit bigger. So, yeah, let's ask a follow-up question. Can you generate code um, for the Svelte app instead of creating a index.html. There we go. All right. I think we're cooking. Wow. Okay. And I am digging Claude for this, right? So after a little bit of pulling, hair pulling, I finally got it able to generate the code in Svelte. So I'm gonna apply this and I'm gonna accept. And yeah, I guess it's telling me like, let's pull out. I'm gonna make this. Let's see. I'm gonna give you guys just a tool with just me looking at the code. So I've just been able to generate the hero, and it generated all these components for me. It hasn't created all of them. So yeah, let's apply this and see what happens. So apply the page. Oh, interesting. So it looks like I feel like I messed something up. It's asking me to accept something. Ugh. All right, I'm gonna ask. Can you generate a skeleton? I don't know if I messed something up, but yeah, I'm just like, can you generate the hero? Can you generate? Let's take these 4 icons, right? Can you generate these icons for me? And I'm going to. Oh, let me edit the prompt. All right. So, all right, I'm starting to get a little bit of a hang of it. It's not that bad. Lit. Okay. We're heating up. So let's apply this. And yeah, let's continue applying some of these changes. I'm going to accept it. So I'm not sure exactly how to use Cursur. It has this apply, and then it gives me these 2 different like files that I could apply to. Like I'm not sure what the difference between them. So I've been clicking the one that does the integrations. And so I'm accepting these integrations and pricing. So yeah, I think one thing that I would like to say is that I wish I have been talking with my models with ChatGPT. I wish it could integrate with ChatGPT to be up to date because I feel like if it could talk to ChatGPT my personal GPT that I've been talking to, it would understand a lot of these contexts a lot faster. But yeah, so we generated all these different components, and I'm just going to go through and make sure that I accepted all of them. And yeah, let's see. Did it change? Huh, so I'm having an internal server error. So yeah, let's see what the process of debugging is going to look like. So I don't know where this is running on my screen. I'm going to take a second. I'm actually going to remove this for a second and see if I can figure out why my internal server is not working. Okay, there it is. All right. All right. So we have our first bug. Let's move it into full screen. So we have our first bug inside of uh, um, Cursor. Let's see how well it does at fixing the bug. I think it's very simple. It looks like it wrote a typo in the string. And so let's see if we can ask Claude to fix that. So there's a bug. Can you fix it? I'm not even going to tell it what the bug is, but it looks like it should not have that dollar sign there. Can you fix it? Let's see if it understands what the bug is, or do I have to literally tell it from the command line? So it does not look like it has access to the command line. So that is quite the bummer. So I'll say there's a bug, and I'll paste the bug in there. I'll say maybe I'll paste the internal server error from this. So one thing that I feel like is interesting to note here is that I thought that Claude or like Cursor was going to, well, we're working on that. I thought that Cursor was going to make me pay for using these various different models, but it looks like all the models are already built in, and so yeah, I think I'm a little bit surprised, and I'm excited for that because I don't know if you guys know, but using these models, if you're using directly the API, it can be a huge pain. So let's get back into it. We're looking at it, and so the coding, let's see. So first, let's create a directory components landing copy, and we can create the other respective files. Um, so it looks like it is trying to create the file. So it's saying something a little bit out of whack. Like the files are already created. The files are already created. Actually, let's read this a little more. Let's see, because this correct structure yet. You need to create a directory structure and files first. Here's components landing. So ask copy, right? So let's ask a question. Let's ask a question. So I'm new to Swell Kit, and we can say something like, "Can you just point them to src lib component?" All right. So it's telling me okay. So yep, let's plan that out. Um, I'm not sure what's giving that. Let's try that. So it's saying, okay, so it looks like I can start a chat right there, fixing Composer. So it did have built-in support for handling these various different areas. Oh my God, my monitor is messing up right now. Let me give me 1 second. I'm going to put it back in. All right, we're all good. So it looks like it has some way in order for me to verify if there's a bug. So I'm just going to click this and tell it to fix and check. Oh, okay. So it's telling me the error can be because site needs type declarations and this. So yeah, let's apply it and see if that works. Wow. Okay. Let me see. Did that fix the bug? No, it didn't. False alarm. Um. So let's try to fix it again. So I am liking this setup because it's like it's a way for me to debug it a lot faster. Like I'm just clicking buttons. Oh, so it looks like yeah, it looks like it's still having a little bit of an issue right here where it's I guess the components are not being registered correctly. So let's see if we can move that out and delete this. Reject. So it's complaining. Actually, let's just move the hero component up and see if that works. And then pages, and we're still having the hero icon. Let's rename it. So let's see if that works as far as fixing the issue. And it's still not working live components. So yeah, let's talk to it again, see if we can fix it in chat. Sure. Why not? I think it's making an issue about that. So it looks like it's making a mess of things because I have all these different directories now. But now that we have those files there, it's still not fixed. SRC lib directory does not exist yet. There's already XRC lib. So it looks like it's spitting me out a little bit of garbage right now. Run. So it's doing a little bit of a bad job as far as actually fixing this bug. Let's see if it can fix something simple like elusive swells. Let's try that. Fix that. Yeah, we can install Lucid Swell. Mm, yeah, we're gonna just run that for now. And that's a pain too. So it looks like it's giving me an error. So definitely the programming process is still a bit of a pain, even with today's AI tools. I am currently trying to create a app, the homepage for my app, and um well, I will say doing this has been a lot faster than me actually writing the code from hand. It still reminds me, like, I'm having a little bit of a headache here trying to like debug this stuff in front of you guys. So let's take a look. So saying the hero spell, make sure. So yeah, it looks like it's just having a really hard time understanding what actually is and is not. So let's pull up the actual localhost again. So it looks like localhost is not running as expected. Let's see what the newest error is. Oh, so it's having an error where it can't find Lucid charts. And so yeah, let's pull up this error and see. So this was me trying to install Lucid charts. And yeah, let's see if we can pull up that error. So yeah, this is still a process of debugging, and it looks like we're having an issue because Lucid Svelte is not in there. So yeah, let's just try that for now. So we've installed a legacy version of Svelte, and the error has went away. And yeah, it looks like all the errors went away. Okay, so we've solved the errors. So in my first, what is it, 30 minutes of using Cursur, I have solved a bug. And hopefully now when we pull it up, so let's see if there's any errors right now. So yeah, let's do a refresh. So it looks like the error has resolved, but the server is not running as correct. So I'm gonna start run npm dev, and so it's running on my local host 5173. So if we look that, or I'm going to take this and paste it. I don't even know what happened. Let's look at the HTML. So it did make the title and the body Svelte announcer. So let's ask Claude the question: why is the landing page not showing? Or I guess that's a question that we could just ask it. Um, let's ask Control L. How do I get to the page route? I wonder if I could like post pictures in here. Um, that would be my follow-up because I want to add images. So let's take a picture of this. So I'm just taking a picture of my screen and seeing if you can do a little bit of that. So I've just pasted the picture into the chat. I'm really happy with that feature. I can't see the hero icon on the front page. Why is that? let's make sure. What does my hero icon look like here? So I'm gonna delete this right now. Verify the file existed. Literal icons. Not the case. Check if there's any console errors. Uh, I'm just gonna add something to the div. So it looks like I can still do all the coding that I really want to. Oh, so the hero, it is working. It is working. I just wasn't sure about it. So interesting. So it's working as expected. So maybe we can spice this up and actually make the pages. Um, can you build out the hero section for DonorSync? Let's apply that. And we can do Y. So, and then look, so we have the hero section finally working in DonorSync. So after a headache of a journey inside of Cursur, we finally got it to start building out the hero section. Yeah, I like Cursor. I feel like this has been not the most fun in the beginning, but I'm starting to see some of the advantages of it. Um, okay, let's get back into it. Let's see if we can finish it up over the next 15 minutes. It's saying that the hero section is supposed to have these purple backgrounds or whatever, but it doesn't have that, which is quite interesting to me because it's colorless. Let me ask a question. Oh, so we have to make the tailwind config, so we'll apply that. Yeah, let's accept it. So with all that, let's do a reload. The colors are still not showing. So it's telling me to install some dependencies. We'll try that. So it's saying conflicts and peers. So yeah, it's giving me, let's add debug with AI. Okay, I'm starting to get the understanding of Cursur and why it's great. Huh. Run. All right. So I've tried to get some color into this page, but it looks like it's having a bit of trouble. Huh. I think I'm gonna end it here for today. So there you have it. My first 30 minutes in Cursor, and I was able to get a landing page. I think a part of the reason why I did so poorly is that I really wanted to get through into auth and other things, but it seems like the although AI is really strong, it's still not able to maybe hinder some of the debugging process that comes along with coding. And so, yeah, I'll do the rest off stream. I'm planning on building DonorSync in front of you guys and using a lot of AI tools. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, really enjoyed you guys coming today. I didn't think I would get that much participation on a Friday, but I will be streaming next week, every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I chose Friday today because I got behind on some of my goals, but check me out every Tuesday and Thursday around 12:30 to 1 to 2. And if you want to come hang out, say hello to me, see how DonorSync is doing, or just want to chat, I'll be here. But other than that, deuces.